All right, let's dive right into this explainer and discover the incredible hidden world inside your very own head. Today, we're unpacking a classic piece of writing about exactly how our thoughts work. I want you to think of your mind as a physical space. It's not just empty air up there, it is a container. And what you choose to put inside that container matters more than almost anything else. Imagine, for a second, that your mind is a giant, heavy, wooden treasure chest. If we were to pop open the lid right now and look inside, what exactly are we going to find in there? Are we looking at sparkling gold, shiny diamonds, and epic tools? Or are we going to find a pile of old socks, broken toys, and rusty tin cans? Your thoughts are your treasure, and today we're going to learn exactly how to make sure your chest is packed with the absolute best stuff.
Section 1. The Mind's Treasure Chest.
To really understand this, let's look at an ancient and super important clue the author points us to from the book of Luke. It reveals a massive secret about human behavior. The text points out that whatever your chest is completely stuffed with, and that word abundance literally means filled right up to the very brim, is exactly what spills out in your words and actions. If you pack your chest with good treasure, well, good things come out. But if it's packed with junk, yep, you guessed it, junk comes out.
Here's another fascinating fact from the text. Your mind must be occupied. It is always working. Your brain is kind of like an engine that never turns off, or maybe a hyper puppy that constantly wants to play. It simply has to be filled with something. It cannot just sit empty. It's constantly chewing on ideas, whether those are good, helpful ideas, or bad, silly ones.
Moving right along to Section 2, good treasure or silly junk.
The crucial point here is that you actually have the power to regulate your thoughts. You are the boss of the chest, and we basically have two choices. On one side, we have good treasure. The text describes this as sacred and eternal things, or proper meditation, basically thinking about things that really truly matter. On the flip side, we have silly junk, commonplace subjects or superficial thoughts. This is like spending all your mental energy on things that don't matter at all. You're literally just stuffing your beautiful treasure chest with mental bubblegum.
Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal with a little junk? A few rusty cans never hurt anyone, right? Well, the text warns us about a massive danger here. If we fill our minds with silly, commonplace things, it keeps our minds operating on a really low level. But most importantly, it stops your faith from flourishing in your soul. Imagine your faith is a beautiful little plant growing inside that chest. If you just dump a bunch of useless, smelly trash on top of it, that plant gets squished and can't grow. You just end up completely wasting your mental energy.
Which brings us to Section 3, we need a helper.
Keeping our mind full of good treasure actually takes way more effort than we can muster up on our own. We have to remember a hard truth from the text. Our hearts are naturally depraved. Now, that's a huge phrase, but it simply means that if you just leave your brain on autopilot, it naturally wants to slide downhill and focus on silly or even bad things all by itself. We just aren't strong enough to guard the treasure chest entirely on our own.
But hey, there is great news. To gain the victory over our runaway thoughts, the text says we absolutely must have the grace of God. Think of the grace of God as a superpowered helper. It's God stepping in to do what we literally can't do alone. But notice what the text emphasizes. It has to be combined with our own earnest efforts. We don't just kick back and go to sleep. We work hard, and God gives us the superpower to actually win the battle.
All right, Section 4, the ultimate angelic treasure.
So if we're using God's help to fill our chest, you probably want to know what the absolute best treasure is, right? Well, the source text lists themes so mind-blowing that even powerful angels desire to look into them. These mighty heavenly beings are absolutely fascinated by the love of Jesus, His sufferings to save us, the work He does for us right now, and His amazing glory. These subjects are so wonderful that they grab the deepest thoughts of angels. The author then throws out a really challenging question for us. Since we are the actual people Jesus came to save, like we're the ones intimately involved in this rescue mission, shouldn't we be just as amazed by this redeeming love as the angels are? If the mighty angels think this is the coolest treasure in the universe, we definitely need to pack it into our own minds.
Section 5. Guarding your chest. So how do we actually become the heroes who protect our minds every single day? The text tells us it is our duty to exercise control, and it uses another big word, consecration. This means dedicating all there is of us to God's service. Not just half your chest, but the whole thing. Both your intellect, which is your thinking power,
and your heart, which is your feelings. God wants to help you guard the entire shebang.
I absolutely love this next part. The text points out that by exercising your intellectual and moral powers, they will actually strengthen and improve. It's exactly like going to the gym, but for your brain. If you have an undisciplined mind, it's going to be super difficult at first to stay focused on good things. It might feel like lifting a really heavy weight. But through discipline, your mind gets stronger, just like a muscle, and it gets so much easier over time to guard your chest.
Let's make this super practical. Here are 3 simple steps you can take from this explainer today to protect your treasure. Number 1, make an earnest effort to notice your thoughts. Actually pay attention to what you're tossing into the chest. Number 2, ask God for His grace and superpowered help, because remember, you can't do it alone. And number 3, stay your mind on God and Jesus' love. Give your brain that amazing, angelic treasure to chew on.
We've seen today that our minds are incredibly valuable spaces, and whatever we pack them full of is exactly what will overflow into our everyday lives. So I'm going to leave you with this one final important thought to consider as you go about your day. When you open up your mind today, what kind of treasure are you going to choose to put inside?